Hello, everyone, and welcome to Top of Mind, Florida. I'm Michael Williams.
And I'm Brian Crowley.
And we have a special guest today. Take it away.
Well, here's our special guest.
Well, I could have done that. Patrick Lamb.
Patrick Lamb.
Great to see you.
Noted saxophonist, and now call Palm Beach County home, and delighted to make your acquaintance. We both heard you at the Cultural Council event not long ago, and wow.
What a fun event that was, just a celebration, kind of a welcoming to Palm Beach. My wife and I have been here for about 5 years. I mean, she's from here, but I'm from, I lived in Portland, Oregon for 25 years, moved here 5 years ago, and it's taken a while to get to know everybody and sort of, it just takes time to make friends and get to know people, so that's been a lot of fun, and you guys are definitely top of the list.
Well, we're having fun and giving credit where credit's due. Brian's wonderful wife, Cheryl Crowley, who is all things public affairs and cultural council, introduced us to that to come over and hear you, and it was outstanding. And before we get into your story, both what you're doing now and what we like to call your origin story, let's take a listen at some of your beautiful work on the saxophone. Let's listen.
So, Patrick, you travel a lot. You do things like go to London for a day and come back on the next day. I mean, a lot of people would think that was nuts to go to Europe for a day and back.
I'd say be careful what you dream of and what you wish for, because that's definitely what I wished for. But now it's an immense amount of work, but it's a work of passion and something I love. And I play probably 200 events a year, touring around the world, and constantly working on music and putting on events. I'm a producer. I produce a 5-star series actually out in Bend, Oregon, the last 14 years, and I brought 200 artists, Sheila E., Arturo Sandoval, Joey DiFrancesco, you name it. So I'm a producer. It's all involved in music, but it's, trying to describe what I do is it can be a little confusing. They're like, well, what specifically do you do?
All things musical.
Yeah, pretty much, just music. Yeah. It's like I have a sound company, I produce, I travel the world, I do horn arrangements for Gino Vannelli and Jason Sheff, and it's just nonstop, so it's a lot of fun.
So when you were a little kid, you didn't get a drum set?
My parents are school teachers, and we are from the deep South. I know you can't
Mississippi.
You can't tell by looking at me that I'm from the Delta. That's not what comes to mind when you first look at me, that I'm from the Mississippi Delta. But I was born in Jackson. I moved 12 times by the time I was 14. So and my parents are not in the military. They're just a little off kilter, maybe, or a little different. Love them. But we lived in, Raymond, Mississippi, Boyle, Mississippi, Cleveland, Mississippi, Austin, Texas, Jacksonville, Florida, all around the South. And then we moved to Portland, Oregon, where my dad got a job teaching science, heading up the science department. He's a physics teacher. And so that's where, ironically, I picked up the saxophone.
For the first time?
Yeah.
How old?
14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm envious of these kids that get a start at like 7 or 6.
Born with it in the crib, yeah.
Just like, I got a late start by all accounts.
You caught up quickly.
Well, I had to do my best, yeah. And so my stepdad taught at a great school called Oregon Episcopal School, and they didn't have a music program. And when we got to Portland, I was enrolled in a public school, which the positivity of that is that they had a music program. So that's how I got introduced to saxophone, and the same beginning band teacher as Chris Bodie has, ironically. So
did your band teacher say, "Here, go play the sax," or was that something you chose on your own?
Well, I enrolled late in school. I remember, like it's yesterday, and so everybody else had chosen drums and trumpet, which are kind of like the loud instruments, that kids love to play.
Right.
And so the only thing that was left was like clarinet and saxophone. So I chose the saxophone, and it was the first thing that I felt like I could really do well.
Right. Did you feel an affinity for it right away?
Yeah, right off the bat. So I just went through all of the etude books and all the advanced books quickly, and then, I thought I was getting pretty good. And my dad brought me home a book called the Charlie Parker Omnibook, which is a book of Charlie Parker solos, transcriptions, and he said, "Here, learn that." So I started learning that, and then I went out to. I'm giving you the cliff notes of everything, but we went out to some jam sessions, and through that, people started calling me for tours. My first tour was with Diane Schuur after she won her second Grammy. So that was kind of the start.
You've been with Smokey Robinson. I was reading your list. Diane Schuur. Wow.
Bobby Caldwell and Gino Vannelli the last 18 years.
Not bad for a kid who's picked up the saxophone for the first time at age 14.
Yeah, my first saxophone looked like it washed up on the beach, pretty much. So, I'm envious these kids that get like their $7,000 instrument, right off the bat. That wasn't me. So it took me like 10 years before I got the instrument that I really loved.
What's the most challenging thing about playing the sax?
It's just kind of an Olympian endeavor. Doing anything well just takes 10,000 hours. You have to take the technique, learn the technique, and then that gives you the freedom to express what you want to express. But in jazz, there's a lot of improvisation, and so you have to just practice, and then listen to the greats. Hank Mobley and Sonny Stitt and Dexter Gordon and all the greats, and then hopefully you listen to that, and then you garner a voice of your own, which is ideally, what your objective is.
And you talk about this a bit, that and your bio, breakout artist on the contemporary jazz and soul scene. I mean, I just loved hearing your music recently. When did you start going from purely artist? You said I have trouble describing what I do because I'm artist now, I'm producer. When did you start branching out and said, I want and need it to be more than that if I'm going to help tell my musical story a bit more and have it be the way I want it to be?
Well, ironically, it started off broader in scope, and then I've narrowed it down as of late. So, because I started off,
we should all be so lucky.
Yeah, it's kind of peculiar because I've had a sound company for many years. I started a ticket company I did over $50 million with, and then I did the Waterfront Blues Festival, did the gates for Steve Miller, this type of thing. But I didn't want to become the ticketing guy. I wanted to play music. So now it's really been a narrowing of focus. As time progresses, you kind of figure out what you really want to do in life, hopefully, right? And so what I really want to do is play, and that's what I'm focusing on now. Ironically, I've been touring with, all these great people over the last decade, but now it's kind of time for me to focus on my show. It's been hard to it's been a lot of fun and wonderful and a blessing, but it's just time to do, figure out what it is that I do. What
brought you to Palm Beach County? Why the move?
I got married and
good reason.
Met a beautiful Italian East Coast woman.
Okay.
Yeah. And she was from Florida, and just she wasn't a big fan of the north, the Northwest.
Right.
And it was time for a change, for me. And I enjoy the sun and just how beautiful it is down here, and all the new friends I'm making.
That's great. How have the audiences changed over the years?
Well, the whole industry's changed over the years. So, we used to have record players, right? And we used to have a lot more terrestrial radio, terrestrial TV, and now, the whole business has changed. I'm sure you guys could relate. So, audiences have so many more choices now. They, some of them stay at home and watch their, their episodes of Dexter or, their YouTube podcasts. Drinking may not be quite as popular as it used to be, so people are a little more conscious. So, everything changes. So the audiences are still the same, though. You've got the human heart, and you have people who loved. It's really about connection.
Talk about, I don't have a musical note in me. Talk a little bit, I wish I did, but when I do talk to great musicians like you, they say the training, you had the youngster met the moment at age 14, but as you look back, the saxophone is a very soulful instrument. What about your own story kind of helps inform the music? Because I always hear at the end of the day, it still comes from the heart.
Yeah.
What kind of informed that story that you think brings what we hear out? As you look at your story.
Well, I think everybody, all human beings, they have challenges and things that they have to go through that make them learn about what's important, or maybe some suffering on one hand, and you got to take that test to make it your testimony. So that's sort of, I think, what my music is. I moved. I kind of come from a broken family. That has a lot of alcoholism and different aspects that I think a lot of people can relate to that are challenging. So the key is just to take that energy and then it's kind of channel it into the positive, and so that's really what I'm doing with music.
You also had a tragedy among some of your friends when you were young, at 16, I think. Mm-hmm. Where 7 people died.
You've done your research on me.
I apologize.
Yeah, no.
No, you said it informed your life story and your work.
Yeah, it's
and this was Mount Hood.
Yeah, Mount Hood, 1986. I was a part of a climbing team that went up, on Mount Hood as part of a training for an outward bound program that's meant to bring your class together.
Sure.
And so we trained, and I was part of the group. I twisted my ankle in indoor soccer the week before, and so I couldn't go. And then 7 students, 2 teachers died. So, yeah, I went to a bunch of funerals that week. And, but really what I've learned about that is, and to oversimplify, is that, none of us have a long time here on the planet, so whether it's 16 years or 106, it's really just a blip. So it's made me more excited, more poignant, more decisive, more pushy, some people might say, which is okay. I resemble that. I'm excited about living life and being healthy. I realize that your health is your wealth, right?
Sure,
and so
I've
become more focused on that. As of late, I feel like I'm in the best shape I've been in. Each year I weed something out, carbs, sugar.
Good for you. But your music really, in many ways, as you've described, testimony to your life story, the good parts and the tragic parts and the tough parts and all of that.
Yeah. And if you feel, all the things that life brings, then you can channel that
comes out in your music. And you very consciously feel that, or is it so subliminal now, or you consciously feel it?
It's an experiential thing.
Really?
Yeah. I think once you go through certain things, you are inherently changed forever. And it's hard. You could talk about it, and to others. You could say, well, real cerebrally, well, it's this or that. Read a self-help book. But when you go through some of the things I've been through, or other people go through. Sure. Everybody goes through stuff that changes you and makes you who you are. So, and then if you're a musician and you're connected with your spirit and your then that's going to come out.
Wow. I used to like to say, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, and I'm not the same person today I'm going to be 5 years from now. We're always evolving.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, good or bad, we're always evolving.
Some friends of mine aren't evolving.
So devolving, I think.
Yeah, devolving.
We could also.
So if there was one person, living or dead, that you could play sax with, that you just would dream of being able to play sax with, who would that be?
Well, I have so many people that I admire. Mm-hmm. I think
I only gave you one.
One. That's almost impossible.
I know you may give you
it just comes up to because I have to choose from Sonny Stitt and Hank Mobley and Dexter Gordon, and it's really impossible. But if I just had to put my finger down, I'd probably say Hank Mobley. you know. But there's so many, and each has a great voice, and so that's a hard. That's a hard
go
question.
for 2 and 3 now. Now that you've named your one, who would be some of the?
Wilton Felder of the Crusaders, and then maybe Sonny Stitt or Charlie Parker. You know.
These conversations always nowadays about just about anything end up at the same spot, and in the music industry, same place. AI, what it's going to mean to artists, understandably fiercely proud about their work, what it's going to mean if the lines are blurred between what AI can produce versus a Patrick Lamb, although knowing you, that to me would be impossible. But you know the challenges. How are you dealing with the cross currents of AI, what it means to keeping your work to yourself, to making sure that people understand the value of a musician such as you and your friends and colleagues? Talk about the challenges there, because that's all of us are talking about in every walk of life right now.
Well, yeah, I'm talking with a lot of musicians as of late about that very topic. Nobody has a clear answer, because now you can just open up Suno, and I just did it last week where I put in an idea like, who do you want for your party? Patrick Lamb, and I said I want it to sound a little bit like Bruno Mars, and it popped out like 3 different versions. Yeah, so it's changing. It makes you rethink what's important, what's going to be marketable, what's going to be sellable, how you can make any money at all in music. Things have always evolved and changed. I think the only bird in the hand that's left, I think, is just the human connection, the entertainment, like person to person, because everything else, the imagery, the song creation itself is becoming. I'm amazed. I don't want to admit it, but the AI is coming up with some pretty amazing songs, and so I'm not sure. I'm an intense realist. I don't want to give into that, but it's just the reality of the new world.
I've said this to Brian before, and I've said it to friends. Maybe I'm naive. You both can tell me. I still like to hope that at least for the long foreseeable future, there will be a premium for people like you and in other walks of life who say comes from the heart, comes from the soul, it's human produced, played by a human. Is that naive to think that there'll still be a sizable market that allows you to apply your craft and so many others there because people say, I put value on that very thing? Or
I want to.
You want to believe it.
You want to believe that, but I think from what I'm seeing, the live entertainment when people are there with you in person, like big concerts, I think that's going to be some of the only differentiation, because people, from what I can tell, cannot tell the difference between some of the new AI stuff and then the human creation. So. I don't want to say that, but it does seem to be the case. So I don't have an answer to that.
So whether you're jetting off to Europe, to London, wherever, you're leaning into the live part of it for.
That's what I lean into playing for people, looking them in the eye. I was in Atlanta, and this week, and Little Rock, and all these different places, and it's really just about. That's the thing that they have not been able to duplicate or replace us with yet until they come up with some like great handsome robots that sing to you or something. I don't know. We're laughing now.
Well, there goes the podcast.
Well, I'm not a musician, but I did use Suno once. I put some lyrics in there for some poem I wrote when I was a kid, put in a little bit of description, and as you know, like 10 seconds later, I had this whole song, and it was really great. The
Isn't
music
it just unbelievable?
Yeah, I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned. So it also made me wonder, so am I now a musician?
Right.
Right?
No.
What's the... No, I know I'm not. I'll be the first to admit that.
That was definitive.
But is that going to become a new definition?
You've heard him play.
I don't think I could play your sax.
But I think there's still the direct human connection. Yeah. And I can't imagine that they're going to be able to replace that. you know, I don't
Well,
know.
when we listen to you,
not.
when we listen to you play
I
the
don't see that
sax,
happening. It was
we
magic.
listen to you play the sax. I mean, it's phenomenal.
It was
It's a
magic.
wonderful experience. You know, I don't need AI to make believe it's something when
Yeah.
I can look at you, watch you play, and feel it internally and everything.
Yeah, see, I still want that. I still, I know it myself, I will put a premium on that human experience, whether it's the music I buy or obviously live entertainment until they come out with the robots. But no, I really do think that's the case. Now, 100 years from now, no. But do I think those of you, and we've had plenty of guests who are talking about the role of AI, but almost all I'm saying, I've got to keep that part, not be scared to say, here's the human piece I bring to that. I'm going to aggressively let people know. And now you should worry if Brian learns how to play the saxophone. then you could have some. Then you could have some real.
You have to come sit in. To bring you up on stage. You know, next time we do the Palm Beach.
For people who,
you know, the Palm Beach Arts
Cultural
Council,
Council.
Cultural
Council,
Council will have you sit in. You know, so.
does any of your work, and you may have mentioned, forgive me, but take you back to your Mississippi Delta roots? Because I think of some of the great music has come from there. Before you came on, naturally, I know it's stereotypical, but I come back to Elvis in Mississippi. Does any of that part of your experience also play a role? The Southern experience with music and the blues and all of that.
Yeah, it's just something deep down in your soul, I think. And I think I had to move away to Portland, and then come back to realize it's just a certain thing, and it's not something you can explain in just a few words, but it has to do with hospitality and. Just, of course, the food and the value set, and in general, down in the South is just something I feel. You feel in your soul, more. So I love it.
My family's from the South. Not Tennessee, actually. So I hear what you're saying, and I wanted to ask too, for people who want to go find you, where do they do it? And then again, because we'll have people sometimes dip in and out here, and we want to make sure they pick up on what you're doing in the here and now. But first, where do they find you in your work? And then sum up again what you're doing, because your resume is so long and you're doing so much that I want to make sure people know where to find you and what you're up to.
I'm just having fun. I'm touring all over the place. So you could just put in Google Patrick Lamb. It'll pop right up. Put me on Spotify if you want to hear my music. I have a Spotify channel. So, put it on here in the office and just leave it. Yeah. But my tour schedule is on patricklamb.com. And like I said, I'm going all over the world, South America, London tomorrow, actually. And then I'll be back. And then I'm headed to... New York and L.A., and then it's kind of nonstop.
Right.
So,
where do you want Brian to sit in?
The Palm Beach
Cultural Council.
the Cultural Council. Cheryl, his wife,
Oddly, he
has
didn't
been so
invite me to go to
kind.
New York.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
It was an oversight.
At the Ben Hotel.
I'm sure.
What a wonderful event you guys put together. I must say, I got a chance to really meet a lot of people. Cheryl, your wife, was so kind to
Yes, she's
to
the one that
invite me,
handles
and,
all that.
We
she's
got
a
to be the
diplomat.
beneficiaries of it.
Yeah, she's a diplomat. Everybody loved Cheryl. So
You've talked about talk about the pain back, because I can tell that's part of your experience, that a piece of you that always finds that energy and pain it back to the younger musicians who are going to have a interesting climb. We've talked about AI and that. Talk about that piece of it to kind of keep the traditions going for contemporary jazz, as you put it, and how you kind of lean into that with your work and that of some of your colleagues, with the younger set who want to come up and follow in your footsteps.
Well, for somebody like me, all I have to do is think about the people who've been there for me early on, and that's really who have been a shining light for me early on. And looking back, I can see how pivotal they changed my life. Back when I really didn't know what I was doing, or if I had any talent or at all, or if it's possible, or what to do, or what to practice. There was a couple of people, and it only takes one or two, to kind of take you under their wing and give you a kind of a encouragement. And so that once you know that, you look back on your life, then if you care and you have a heart, then what you want to do is help others do the same. Yeah. So
pretty cool
it's
stuff.
Pretty simple.
We call it Top of Mind Florida for the very reason that we always like to ask what else is top of mind for you that maybe we missed, or a piece of your story that you have that aha moment that says, oh, I wish I'd brought that up to him. And I'm curious, too, with that beautiful saxophone. It's like the golfer says, or the person who works at the donut factory, I says, I don't need them when I'm home. I get it all day long. Is this your comfort even when you're at home to get out the sax and just sit down, or do you get as far away from it as you can when you're at home?
You'd be surprised. My wife and I are just so simple and quiet. Because I've been to every party. I've played at the White House twice. I've been all over the world. My friend Christopher Radko invited me. Well, this is another story, but he came to Portland, promoting his ornaments and his new, his business with Nordstrom and Saks and so forth. We were on the same TV show, kind of like this a little bit. So, and we, I had my whole band there. We were performing, and he loved the group, so he got my number. And then he came to my CD release party. And then after that, he said, "Hey, listen, we'll be in touch." I said, "Great." I didn't really know much about Christopher. And then 2 weeks later, he called and he said, "Hey, Patrick, I'm here at the White House with Social Secretary, and we really enjoy your music, and we would like to invite you to come perform at the White House for the lighting of the Christmas tree."
Oh, wow.
So I was like, well, let me check my schedule and see.
Yeah, I think I can make it.
But Christopher is a dear friend, and he's going to be coming back down Christmas. I'm actually doing a lighting of the Christmas tree in Delray.
Wow.
This year,
cool.
so at the amphitheater.
So we can hear you there.
So, and Christopher, I believe, it's not secured yet, but I believe he's going to come down and be part of it, possibly. And I just like to have a lot of fun. I'm not, when I'm not performing, I'm really focused on health and just enjoying life. My wife and I live on the beach, so I wake up each morning looking at surfers, and lately my latest hobby is just health. So I've been I study, like when I'm on the plane, I'm studying like Dr. Berg's, vitamin recommendations and this type of thing. I mean, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
And
not when you stay in good health.
And I don't drink or smoke, so I'm a really weird musician. People are like, so I try to show up on time.
Yeah, good. You contrarian. Well, we look forward to hearing your music for a long time to come. You realize you've just amped up tickets, although people get in free, but Delray for the Christmas tree lighting.
It's going to be fun, right?
Yeah, and it's a free event. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't, people would still be marching down there to get in. But yeah, it's a great event, and it gets a huge...
You've been there before.
Yeah.
See, I'm brand new.
No,
so
huge turnout. Gets a huge turnout. You're going to have quite an audience for you there. And families from everywhere. You're going to love it.
It's a Patrick Lamb's Charlie Brown Christmas.
Good, I love it.
So we talk about the spirit of Christmas, and we have sing-alongs, and we're going to incorporate local schools, choirs that are going to sing along with the Vince Guaraldi music. It's going to be great.
Well, if you see a Charlie Brown who looks like he has a gray beard and a little baby saxophone and keeps trying to get on stage to sit with you, it could be Brian. So just watch out.
Did you play a little piano?
You've got plenty of time to train.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll get on the sax. I want to hear you there. Patrick Lamb, we appreciate you being our guest today on Top
Thanks
of
so
Mind,
much.
Florida. Final thoughts, sir?
Well, I'm going to start practicing the drums so that I can be behind you playing while you're playing the sax. I don't want to, do better than you. I want to make sure you're number one.
Well, we're gonna invite you up and have you part of the band next time we see you.
Oh, I'm going early to make sure I get a front row seat.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
That's it for Top of Mind, Florida. Thanks for being with us.